and at the same time.
No problem. You're totally fine. You're
I
totally
can't
fine.
hear you. Hold on.
Oh no. Okay.
Okay. Let's see. Say something.
Oh, something. Hey. Hi. Hello. A,
What happened
B,
to my
C,
volume? I
D.
can't hear anything. Hold on.
Or it might be me. Can you hear me better now?
I can't hear anything.
Do you want to? Oh, maybe I should type it. Log
Let me try
out,
one more
then
time.
back in. Trying to sign. Log out, then okay, cool. That's not even how you sign. That's so offensive of me. I apologize, guys. I wanted to take sign language in college, but you weren't allowed to take it unless you were a communications major. And I was like, that makes no sense though. Like, I want to learn how another language, and another language is mandatory, but why does it have to be these 4 specific languages? Hello, friends. Hello, friends. But Instagram does that sometimes where like I'll try to listen to a video, but like the volume doesn't work. Maybe like because people are getting away from TikTok and they're coming back to Instagram, so they're not used to the volume right now, if that makes sense. Hey girl, hey!
Yes, now I can hear you. I don't know what was
Yay!
happening. Okay. It was so weird.
No, you're fine. So can you introduce yourself to everyone, please?
Hello, I'm Carmi.
What do you do? Girl, talk yourself up.
Me talking myself up, I don't know. I'm an artist. I performing arts. I sing. I act. I do some modeling, singer-songwriter stuff, musical theater, film, TV, whatever I can create.
She's definitely downplaying herself, you guys. Because I was just saying before you even got on here that like I feel like I'm talking to a celebrity right now.
Oh my! Thank
Because
you.
you are. You do so much. So let's not. I'm getting ahead of myself. So, how did you start performing?
Um, well, I started when I was a kid. When I was about 4 years old, I started to sing and I played drums a little bit. But I don't play drums anymore. Don't ask me to play anything. That was actually the first instrument I played. So I started with music, started with singing. I came from a musical family from the church. So that's where it started for me. And when I got into acting actually, started with writing. I started writing first. And I don't know, I wrote skits and plays and poetry. And that was my thing. I was like, I like to sing out in front and behind the scenes, and I write plays and stuff. My friends would perform, and then my school started to perform my plays. Then I had to be in them. I had to act in them. So that's where acting started for me. It started from the storytelling aspect of it. And then I got out front, and I was really shy unless I was singing. Even when I was singing, I was shy. But I love music so much. And then I started playing keys a little bit. As you can see my keyboard behind me. It is, I am not Beethoven, but I like to play on it a little bit. If I practiced more when I was younger, I would be better. But yeah, and then I started classical training when I was about 13, and my teacher and I was trained for year round for about 5 years. And when I started doing that, my teacher got me more into acting in the opera world and stuff like that. And then it just kind of just took over from there with the acting and singing. And then as I got older and figuring out what I want to do with my life, more opportunities started to open up. And I continued to work on it. I still work on my craft even, with the apocalypse and stuff. But that's how I started with acting and singing. Modeling, it just happened.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I'm singing here, and then a modeling opportunity happens, or if I'm acting, I'm on set, modeling opportunity happened. I got into film acting after I started doing stage for a while, and I discovered how much I like film, and I studied that for a bit too. So yeah.
Did you go to a performing arts school?
Actually, no, not really. I went to no, I went to LaGrange College. I went to two colleges. I went to LaGrange College, and then I went to Regent
Where
University.
is that? Is that in Florida?
LaGrange is actually in Georgia. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Forgive me.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's small. It's a small school. But they have really good music and theater programs there. And the same with the Regent. Except for Regent, they didn't have music; they just had theater. However, I went there in music scholarship. It was very interesting. But yeah. So not directly, but I created my own little path, and I really made stuff difficult, but it is what it is. And I studied, I studied with some conservatories, like with instructors from Berkeley and stuff like that. And then for film, I just found different people to study with who were really good and been in the industry, and mentors. And then, so I just kind of created my own. I feel like I did a difficult route. I feel like going to performing arts school or just sticking to the conservatory, that would have been easier instead of just being all over the place and just pulling in. I don't know. Welcome to my life.
No, no, I think that's genius, because, okay, so how do you feel about taking acting and vocal classes now since you've been doing it for so long?
Oh yeah, I still take it. Well, not at the moment, but I still love to. I'm always. I love what I do. I love the craft of as you know, you're an artist, but I love the craft of it. So um, I'm always learning, even if when I find different instructors, different people I can learn from. I'm always here for it because it's like you never graduate. You're always learning as long as you live, right? And I know I've been doing it for a while, and I'm qualified to teach, if you will. But just because I'm qualified to teach or I've been doing it for a very long time doesn't mean that I know it all. You can always learn from somebody. So I'm always studying, even if it's not directly with an instructor, but even still directly from an instructor. And it's also good with networking as well.
What has been your favorite role that you've played? you she's literally downplaying herself, you guys. She's done so much. And like now she's saying like, okay, out of all the roles I've done, what's my favorite?
Oh man, every character I play, I absolutely like. I build a relationship with that character, whether it's fictional or non-fictional, and it has helped me as a person. I feel like I learn things from characters, and maybe that, I don't know. I mean, I think all actors think so, and also that writing side of me also kind of like connects in a way. But oh boy, my favorite. That's difficult for that reason, but I I am gonna go with um I want to go. I don't know. I think I want to go with Dorothy.
Dorothy?
At least at the moment, because every day feel like a scene in Oz. So,
Yes.
so yes, I was
Why,
Dorothy.
why did you choose her?
Um, I chose Dorothy at this moment because um, the Wiz, is it's a spin-off from the Wizard of Oz. So it's so very well written. That is
Yeah.
literature is amazing. To life, and I think that Dorothy, even as well as other characters I've played, really even now, after playing the role, still reminds me of certain things, certain values in life, regardless of which phase I am in life, and Dorothy, she was, um, I'm from a small town and now I live in New York, and it's like, for her, it was just this whole new world of things, and meeting people along her journey taught her a lot, but the biggest lesson I think she learned was it was inside of her all along. Everything she wanted, everything, she went on this whole long journey to learn that everything that she wanted was inside of her. And that is so many lessons in that entire show, and there's so many lessons for her. But that one particularly is one that I continue to come back to. Um, so, because I get so caught up in so many different things, and I do my original music and just living the artist life. Even now, during the pandemic or even before, I think it's still applicable, and it's like I have to always come back to my center and remember that everything that I want, is inside of me. I don't have to go to the whiz. And that was the lesson for all of them, really. And it's inside of you, and also it's always with you, which is, it's like, duh, it's inside of you, it's with you, but not inside of you as necessarily like you have to really think about it to get there, which is true. But then also all along, it's been with you, like the other characters, like they were in situations where they showed the things that they wanted but didn't realize, like the Tin Man wanted a heart, but he had so much love for Dorothy that it was like he didn't realize he had a heart until the end. And the same for the Scarecrow. He thought he didn't have brains, but
Oh, you froze a little bit. You froze a little bit. 1 second. Oh no, you froze. Oh no. Wait, 1 second. You froze like a split second, girl. 1 second. Technical difficulties. Sorry about that, guys. So, we were just talking about Carmi's favorite show that she's ever done, which was The Wiz. I don't know if you're familiar with The Wiz. You should be. Shame on you. But of The Wizard of Oz, which I'm sure you already know what The Wizard of Oz is. If you don't know what The Wizard of Oz is, definitely shame on you. But it's just basically the African American version of the play as a musical. What up, homie? But it's more infamously known for the movie where Diana Ross played Dorothy, and Michael Jackson played the Scarecrow. A lot of people don't know that trivia. I'm very good at trivia, but yeah, Carmi played Dorothy in The Wiz. Hey, in The Wiz, and she was phenomenal in it.
yes, good job with the trivia. Sorry, I don't know my internet or whatever. I just connected. Actually, I was on my phone, like whatever. Now I just connected to the Wi-Fi, so hopefully.
No, you're fine. No, you're fine. But you were just saying how the Scarecrow wanted a brain and the Tin Man wanted a heart, but it was always inside of them.
Right. It was all they had it all along, and doing on this amazing journey, which of course in musical theater, fun, singing, dancing, running across the stage, all that extraness. But at the end of the day, it was within them all along. And I also, for me, because I'm so extra, like for me it was like Dorothy had those things as well, and although her ultimate thing was to get home, the things that she was teaching them, she had within herself as well. And I felt like, the way that it's written, she needed that journey as well, for herself, and that was a part of her maturing, a part of her being home and growth, and to go back home, even though home was also always with her. So, yeah, that was one of my favorite roles for that reason. It was so much, packed into the entire show, so much packed into the character, that I'm often reminded of, even now, especially during the pandemic. It's like, oh my, I feel like I'm in Oz, know, we have the witches and you have, you know, the
Honestly.
Catholicism
So
thing.
this may sound kind of outlandish, but how do you feel about people of color plays being colorblind casted? That's not a word. Cast.
Okay. I say
So
it sometimes too, and I'm like, that's not right. Wait a minute.
no, I remember once in college I said casted, and someone was like, "That's not a word." I was like, "Okay, well, I'm new to this, so."
Doesn't even matter. Fans.
So how would you feel if they cast The Wiz with a person who wasn't of color, Dorothy?
I Dorothy.
Your face reaction said it right there.
Well, no. There cannot. Dorothy has to be black first off. Um, Now, if there are other ethnicities in the show, like ensemble, um, I think that it should be cast all black. But if it's in the ensemble, perhaps, then I don't see how. Personally, I mean, there will probably be someone who totally disagree with me. But if it's ensemble, I'm open to. I personally will be okay with it, but definitely not the principals. Definitely not the principals. Um, I think it should be all black cast because The Wizard of Oz is all white, and I think that The Wiz was our way of our creation, our adaptation of it, um, particularly for us in our culture. Hello.
Mm, mm.
But but yeah. So no, I think that it defeats the purpose because if you want to do The Wiz, then you might as well just do The Wizard of Oz. Because
Yeah.
I know the music is different and you know everything is different, and The Wiz changed the world of Broadway, you know, forever and in a great way back in the '70s. But it was for us, you know, and we are not. And although white shows, there's no such thing. However, a lot of shows that were written, they weren't written for us, or they didn't cast us, or it's very rare that they would cast us. Even now, like in 2020, it's like, I mean, obviously nothing is really going on during the pandemic, but before the pandemic, like there's still like certain shows that don't really cast black people, you know, that could be cast that isn't not, you know, ethnicity or quote unquote race specific. So it's different when you have shows written for us and by us even, which are with The Wiz is one of the rare shows that is written by us for us. I mean, of course, it's an adaptation, but for that reason, you know, it's written for us, so it needs to be cast for us, and it's a reason behind it, you know. But yeah. So to answer your question, not going on. Yes, definitely not. Most definitely not any of the principals. Um, I wouldn't be too upset if the ensemble uh, was a mix of ethnicities or races or white people, but I would prefer it not be. But definitely, if any of the principals, especially Dorothy, oh no, I'm like, then why are we doing The Wiz? Might as well just do The Wizard of Oz. Let's just sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow, you know, versus you know home.
Have you had any uncomfortable, borderline discriminatory situations as a performer?
Of course. Which one do I want to say?
Oh,
Yeah, you
no,
got
same girl, same.
oh, knock the whole thing down. But yes, of course, I have. I mean, unfortunately, so like should be yay. But yeah.
That's so funny. We have a list.
Right, well, a list of experiences, you know. Yeah, yeah. I won't even get into that one, but for example, I'll share this one. It
Okay.
wasn't this. It was like, what do you call the word for it? It wasn't necessarily direct in this particular situation, but it was very, as all cases, very ignorant. So, sure, I feel like But I did. Oh, hi, Clark's Mission. No, I did. I did Beehive,
Oh, cool.
and it was really that was also a very fun show. Actually, I did Beehive at the same time I was doing Row, which is a straight play. But anyway, so which is
That's a
also a
lot.
very powerful show too.
That's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, but anyway, for not Row, for Beehive, I and actually this happened when I did Christmas Story too. Now that I think about it, but it wasn't necessarily discrimination, but it was just racial ignorance in the costume department because uh, it was in Beehive. It was three white girls or three white ladies, three black ladies, and the black ladies had to wear black shoes because we were black, like literally black character shoes. But the white castmates got to wear their skin tone, and I'm like, I know it's difficult because we don't really have a lot of shades for us. However, you don't just say you wear black because you're black. I'm not black. I'm racially black or ethnically whatever black, but my skin tone is not black like the shoe. So I was like, okay, that was very offensive for myself and the other two black ladies in the show. And something similar happened actually when I did the Christmas Carol. That was also a show, right? That was a mixed cast as well. Of course, it was way more people, and I played several roles in that. Um, but they had the costuming brought us tights, and everybody there was all ethnicities, Japanese, Chinese, uh, what's the Hispanics, but there were so many different. Which this is one thing I actually loved about that show, but everybody had their skin tones of tights, but the three black ladies in the show. So of the women, and I was like, okay, cute. We get okay, because I was like pick it up, and I'm like, all right, so this is a bag, and inside the bag I'm gonna have my skin tone. I was like, oh, never mind, never mind. And this, and all these were like within the past 2 years or so. It's like, okay, so those aren't direct racial discrimination. I have some of those stories too, but these are, I guess, would be more ignorant situations when it came to color. Um, and I think that shouldn't even be a thing these days. I know sometimes, when it comes to certain costuming things for dance, musical theater, everything's not always. They're beginning now to have like different shades of brown. So it's a new thing, but it's a thing because I have been able to wear skin tone things, and then that was one thing that I do appreciate when I did the Wiz because the company I did it with they were a white company, a white company. So they did make sure that like my costume was fitting. Like my tights were the tone of my skin. Of course, I had the silver slippers on, so that wasn't even a thing. But they were respectful of that part, the costuming part, which can be tricky sometimes. So that's my example. I do have more direct situations, but I don't get into that right now.
No, I appreciate you for just sharing that little tidbit because that little level of ignorance is like it like puts a bad taste in your mouth,
Right.
and it's like what's the point of
Happened
even
way
trying to like
right, and way too much because there were two different situations, two different theater companies, two different states, two different
wow.
situations was like the same thing, and I'm like, wow, how do we fix this? And
Um, so you're in New York right now.
yes.
How is it up there during the pandemic? How are things going?
Now things are better. At first it was like the epicenter. So allegedly the numbers have gone down. So it's not as crazy. The governor here has opened up things in phases, so it's kind of like a new normal ish. You know, it's not like the end, or it's not like it's going to be it. Like, you know, there's hopefully more things will continue to change for the better, but you know, it's kind of this transition feeling. Um, so, you know, I'm just kind of riding it out, you know, trying not to stress about it, staying healthy, being as safe as possible. But, you know, it's summertime. It's definitely quite different from last summer. Um, and the country girl in me kind of like it a little bit. But but it's still a little, yeah. I mean, you know, not performing is really the thing. That's well, I have been performing a little bit, but the theater shut down and all of that. Like, I was supposed to be in a contract this summer, and all of that, of course, closed. So just, you know, not getting too sad for too long about everything changing. But I think most of that was like with the beginning of it. Now it's like, all right, you know, you kind of know what it is, you know. So every 2 weeks, starting in, well, every 2 weeks for 4 phases. We just hit the fourth phase about 2 weeks ago, maybe. So now the way that everything is open is, I think it's just going to be that way for a little while, because, you know, they're expecting the second wave to hit, and the governor really has it under control here. So, I mean, well, as much as possible, it's still here, but, you know, so it's an experience. It's definitely one for the books. I think for everybody in the whole world, but definitely one for the books.
But theaters are still closed down there.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. The theater is still closing here. Well, you know, at the Actors Equity Association is like not letting any theater open. Of course, now they say Broadway's not open in January. We'll see. I don't think that's smart, but we'll see.
Well, you said they are, or they're not opening.
They're supposed to. Broadway's supposed to open back up in January, and of course, Broadway is huge for New York because there are so many people.
Yeah, that's how they make their money. Are they making it open to the public, or they're just going to put on shows and like record it?
That's a good question. Well, they're talking about not opening to the public till then, but because, you know, now they're just doing streams from previous shows here and there, or they're talking about making different movie adaptations or some sort of adaptation to stream it. But that may be the new way of things. I think the industry is still figuring it all out, so everything happens so quickly, you know. I think that maybe eventually, hopefully, we'll be able to open it back up. When, I don't know. I don't think it'll be January, although that's the date. I don't think it'll be then. But you gotta give it out to people in sections, so we don't lose our mind.
How do you feel about them starting back up sports before they started back up the theater world?
Oh, you know, I always have thought that that sports get more respect than the arts in America, and I think that's so disrespectful. I like the sports, but as an artist, art is a sport, especially theater. Especially theater, it's a sport within itself, and the song. So I always thought that America is disrespectful. So I'm not surprised that you know would happen. But at the end of the day, um, you know, the professional side of me really doesn't like it. But the health, the common sense, the person, the artist is like, well, you know, it's better safe than sorry, because, you know, theater is it's a lot of work. You know, it's a lot on you physically, it's a lot on you mentally, emotionally, spiritual, everything. But also you're in close quarters with people. You know, it's an ensemble, regardless of how you look at it. It's always an ensemble of people behind the stage, on the stage, before you even get to the audience. So that being said, there's, you know, it's out there. We don't know what's going on, how to prevent it. You know, it's better to stop the spread of it with less contact than let's just wait. You know, for actors and I mean for the patrons as well, but also for actors, because it's a lot without having a disease out there or whatever. You know, so it's for our health sake, especially because what we do is so physical that we need our health to continue. You know, I prefer us, you know, doing stuff like virtually or whatever, you know, than going out there and lose it forever. So,
So other than being a phenomenal artist, you are very huge about women's rights and body positivity. So what got you started into that?
um, I think, well, I'm an artist. I'll say this first and then ask the question. This doesn't directly answer your question, but um, um, I'm an artist. You know, it's what I do. It's what I love. It's what I'm passionate about, and I say I am art. But I feel like that's on a professional level is a vehicle to what I'm really passionate about, which is that, or my dharma. I think Deepak calls it. You know, it is your greater purpose. You know, I like to help people, and I do consider myself a healer, at least a healer in training, as I heal myself. You know, you help others so you can heal yourself, um, but I am very passionate about women's rights and body positivity. As you said, that started. Um, actually, this started with just me um, realizing a lot about myself. Um, how do I put this? I'm trying to think, when did it start? I've always, I guess, kind of been that way a little bit. But as I start to experience life and experience trauma, etc., I um, began to learn how to heal myself. And once I began to learn how to heal myself, it's like, okay, and realize the people who were there for me, hi Khalifa, and the people who weren't there, and the people who, not, I say who weren't there for me, people who were there for me, and the things I wish I had known, you know, and I'm like, wow, you know, I know two things. One, that it's like a responsibility that I inevitably got to help others, and then also to know that it's not. I realized it wasn't just me who experienced certain things; it's others as well, regardless of where they are in their journey, and to realize how certain things are not right and how twisted certain things are, you know, um, in society, and how we really have suffered from it, or how we could suffer from it. So that is just becoming aware of more and more. It started, you know, and it honestly started for myself, and then realizing other people in my life, women specifically, and men even, and just being more aware and observant. And it's just something that I just really became very, very passionate about. And I realized how much yeah, things I've done to
Go ahead.
uh, you know, but yeah, and I'm like, okay, I really feel passionate about that, and I really feel like, you know, I want to help others to either not be like myself or to get through certain things. And also, I'm reading Queen of Fua's Sacred Woman, and she says, she puts it this way: once we learn to heal our wounds individually and collectively, we learn to, and I'm paraphrasing, but we heal the world, you know, and that's and how women are direct to reflect, and that's the whole feminine energy part. And yes, we are both masculine and feminine energy, but I think that feminine energy has been muted and pushed away and fought for so long now that it's like, okay, and it's a lot of toxic masculine energy, um, and I think that feminine energy needs to it's time to help cleanse some of that. And I think that honestly, that's probably a direct, and this is just me, but somewhat a direct reflection of the coronavirus, if it is, you know, natural or whatever. So I think that, you know, it's the feminine energy that's going to heal and cleanse, even though it looks a certain way, and it definitely sucks. But as a part of that, you know, I think that yeah, and then women rights and human rights when it comes to, you know, civil and humanity, especially, well, in all of the world really. Um, so just honoring and respecting that, us and that energy and that power. Um, So yeah, that's there's a little bit of how.
Oh man, you froze again. Okay, you're back. Can you hear me? Oh, I can't hear you.
Okay,
Okay,
I
I
can
can hear
still hear
you.
you. I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay.
You said can you?
I have
Can,
a
okay.
I have a two-part question. Um, so I think this is something that you posted on your story, but it said that when women brag about how they're very masculine and very dominant, they are denying their feminine energy and it's toxic. That's a question. It sounded like a statement, but that's a question. And then my second question my second question is, do you think that some women do have toxic masculinity?
Yes. Um, I think. Well, the first one. That second is kind of a segue, I guess. So the first segue from the question. The first one is a segue to the second. I don't know, but did I say that right? But anyway, wait. You said that the statement was women.
Women often brag about how they're very dominant, how they're alphas, but do you feel that they're denying their feminine energy to a point that it's toxic for them?
I mean, well, I think that just depends on the person, but I think that could be toxic though. Um, to brag. Well, like I said, we all have both energies, or and I think that well, I'm not going to tell into to how we're both and everything, but I think that sometimes women think, or even people when they think feminist or they think womanist, they think toxic masculinity. They think, oh, we should be a man type of thing, if that makes sense. Like, not saying that you shouldn't be. Um, yes, you should speak up for yourself. Yes, you should all these things, but don't try and be like, I'm a man. Like I'm gonna do what a man does. You know what I mean? Because I think that could be toxic. Because that's disregarding the feminine energy. Um, to say, you're like a man. And because I think that it's so beautiful to be a woman. You know what I mean? And I think that there are some things that we have innately. Um, yes, we all have both energies, but women, of course, have more feminine energy typically, and naturally. Um, but to just you could lead from a feminine energy lead, meaning that let me think of a good example. Like I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good example that's not like extra. uh, um, you can be nurtured. Okay, you can lead from a nurturing perspective. You can be nurturing and still get things done. You know what I mean? And a lot
Yeah.
of times that nurturing energy is pushed to the back.
Yeah.
Because it's considered weak, but it's actually stronger. Um, and a lot of times that masculine energy, and you could it could manifest in a masculine way. That makes sense. Um, but not necessarily have to be very militant or very like you can lead from a different perspective. You could be um, you could be equal from a woman's perspective, if that makes sense, or feminine energy perspective. Um, so I think that could be very toxic if you're trying to take on more masculine energy in the form of feminine energy. If that makes
Mm, it makes sense.
So I think that is toxic because at the end of the day, you're still not embracing feminine energy. um, yeah. And the second question was very similar. What was that again?
Do you think that some women also have toxic masculinity within themselves?
Yes, yes. And very similarly, the same thing. And it could be um, taught. It could be taught that way too.
Mm.
Without even realizing it. Uh, you could because like growing up, I grew up. Let's not go myself for a moment. I grew up. I have 5 older brothers, and a very strong patriarchal. I grew up in an environment.
You don't have any sisters?
I have 2 sisters. I have 2 sisters. I have a huge family,
Oh my God.
yeah, I have more brothers.
Yeah.
And because of that, it was always, you want to. I mean, it was interesting because it was very male dominant, but it was also very role dominant. So meaning that if you were a woman, then you were to be in a certain place, and not only role wise, but kind of a certain, I don't know, quote unquote submissive wise, which I hate, but like that, and then the men have to be super dominant. So for me, for a while, it was like I had what I would say toxic feminine energy in that sense, because I wanted to do everything that the boys did. Now, granted, a woman can do, I would say, anything that a man does, but at the same time, what a woman does to me is also better. You don't have to try and be a man to feel like you're a certain place, because it's better. That's what I'm saying, like the female energy. And I'm speaking from specifically an energy perspective, not necessarily roles or anything like that, because I think that those can be interchangeable. Like what a man should do, what a woman should do. I think that's honestly interchangeable depending on the person. And that's a whole spiritual thing. I ain't get into, but I will keep it simple and say, yeah. So I think that it's toxic when you're still saying you're a woman but trying to be a man. And I hope I'm saying it right, because I'm not, because what I'm trying to say is specifically energy wise, because I think that a lot of times the beauty of being a woman is disregarded to try to put on that masculine face, sometimes. So in that case, I think it's toxic. Be who you are, but at the same time, my thing is you don't have to bury the beauty of a woman, but more so explore it and unleash that dominance, because that's needed. And the word I would use now is nurturing, that nurturing side that is, is needed in the world now. And that's the feminine energy. And men can tap into their feminine energy as well. It's not just for women.
Yeah.
So I think that sometimes we could misunderstand what it really means. And yeah. So that's answering this question.
No, you're preaching to me. You're helping. I'm realizing a lot about myself right now. I'm gonna talk to myself after this a lot. Okay, what is your favorite show? Not that you've done in general in life. Your favorite show and your least favorite show. First of all, I never get to talk to anyone about theater at all in my life, so I'm taking advantage of this as much as I can. So, your favorite show and your least favorite show. Doesn't matter if you've done it or not.
Oh boy, that's difficult again, because well, I'm big on stories, and I think that every story is valid. But yeah, I think that every story is valid. So every show, in some ways, have a place. Now that being said, I think that some shows. I think that some shows. Hi Emily. I think that some shows are. If it's a non-fictional show, then it could dance around certain truths, and it could be at the end of the day either good art or bad art. Nevertheless, it's some configuration of the story. So anyway, to answer your question, because that doesn't quite answer it, which is why it's difficult. Gosh, ay. And you're speaking specifically to theater.
Yeah, or movies.
Whew.
I just made it too broad now. I just ruined it. Sorry.
Huh?
I just ruined it. Sorry, I made it too broad now.
Oh my god. That makes it even more. Ooh, okay. I okay. When I was younger, I used to watch. I clearly was a trouble kid because I used to watch The Color Purple, the movie, and of course there's a show to that as well, which is a little different. Movies and shows, yeah, movies that become shows always change up a little bit. Um,
Unfortunately.
but I really like that movie. And I think, and I was like, I don't know why, even as a kid, I liked it so much because I did watch other movies, such as Lion King, which is also very good. It's also a show, which is why this question is difficult because I'm going to give you like 50 million. But I was saying over now because I think that show actually both, and I would say both of those movies that they did become musicals, and they were very pivotal to Black theater, um, and not just Black theater, but also, and even the same with The Wiz. Since I brought that up, might as well tie this into it as well because that was also a movie and it was also a show, and those were all of them are and still are very significant to our community of actors, both theater and film, because we didn't have a lot necessarily specifically for us and by us. And all of those were for us for sure. And think by us. I have to double check my facts on Lion King. But, but that's very important from that perspective. However, um, I like those. Well, we already talked about the Wiz, so I'm not going to go back to that one. But The Color Purple, and which is very long as a movie for sure. Well, shows too, actually.
Did you read the book in school?
I did not read the book in school as a part of an assignment. I did read the book though, and I read the book because books are always much better. If you have a book, if there's a movie from a book, the book all like it always has something extra.
The book is
So
always better. The book is always better.
right, and that's anything. That's anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I really wanted to read the book, and and Alice Walker, I really wanted to study her as she came with the whole. She says what womanism and feminism, that whole distinction. Lavender is the purple, and all of that. And she was a black writer, black female writer. So I think that I really connected with that because we don't have a lot, especially back when the book was written or the movie was even done, like in the 80s. Of course, I didn't watch it till in the 90s, but it was. I think seeing, I think I even just connected on a level, to see something from a perspective of a black woman that wasn't as common. And then the characters, of course, and the story wasn't necessarily something too significant to me as a kid. I think I was just entertained by such brilliant work, by the actors. Um, and then of course they had the church scene, and I grew up in the church, and I really liked the music in that part. And it wasn't super music heavy, but I also liked the music in it, of course. If I'm not mistaken, Quincy Jones arranged a lot of the music, so that's that. The connection, that Motown connection, that music, so I really, I think that was what attracted me as a kid. But on a deeper level, I think that just seeing a perspective from a black woman writer um, is very significant and very rare. Now, of course, there's more and more recent pieces, um, but so that's one of my favorites since I was a kid. I have tons of other favorites. Least favorite, I don't know. Um, I will not talk about the show. So, but okay, this is not necessarily a least favorite, but it is a movie that I saw recently. Judy, by Judy Garland. I would say.
Oh, was that bad? I didn't see it.
I mean, I don't think it was bad. I would just say it was a bit disappointed because I feel like the movie was a lot. I mean, it was decent in length. You know, it was like a decent length of a movie, but it was just weird to me. Like I feel like the story could have been. The acting was good, but I feel like the story could have been a little. Could have given her. I mean, I just think the story could have been told a little bit better. Because it kind of started at one place and had flat. Well, you didn't see it, but it goes. I don't want to give it away. It's just but it's the facts were there. I don't know. I feel like they maybe tried to leave certain things out. Like it was, and I guess that's also the thing I like about The Color Purple in comparison is while as a person I can be very private and I get to talking and I've probably even done it today, but like I started cutting out stuff. But I think I don't like when shows, and I'm not saying this is exactly what happened. It just felt that way to me. It's like, okay, they want to tell just enough but not go too much into it. Versus The Color Purple, they just let it all out. You know what I mean? And I feel like that was just felt on just that naked truth. It's like they told it, and it wasn't like, oh, it was perfect, but it also felt like, I don't know if they were trying to keep it, a certain rating. I really don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe like it was just interesting, or maybe it was just too much, and they tried to just piece different pieces in there and try to keep it under a certain time. But I don't like when it just felt that way to me. And I'm not saying it's my least favorite movie, but it's just one movie that I saw recently that I think could have been done better in that regard. From I guess a writing or production aspect, because it's like certain things, because you're telling her life,
Yeah.
I feel like it could have been fleshed out just a little bit better. And maybe they tried to have I don't know. I don't know what it was, but to me, it just felt like it wasn't told up. It wasn't brought out a lot, and they had like these cutbacks, and I just felt like they could have told more of her story, because she was a young actor, and so they pretty much highlighted how in her later years she was affected by things that happened in her teenage years, and they brought it up a little bit in like little clips of it, but I felt that if we would have heard more so from the child her more, then and maybe a little less of her later years, maybe it would have been the story could have been a little bit more connected to me. So I would say that's my least favorite. That's not in life. That's just what comes.
Yeah. No, I feel you. I feel where you're going. I know where you're going.
I hate that
I
movie.
mean, it's always the worst thing to like crap on other artists' work, because it's like
Right.
they did the best that they felt that they could. So it's like you really can't have a right to like talk bad about it. Speaking of talking bad about it, though, what did you think of while we're here? What did you think about the Cardi B video?
1 second. Hold on. Let me try to connect this up.
Yeah, no problem. Where's the puppy? Hey. Oh, now you don't want to be here. Okay.
Right.
I'm dog sitting, so like it was storming earlier. The dogs were freaking out, and I'm like, it's just a storm.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Hurricane season is really about to hit. Like I hope it's not too bad, because we can have that and COVID going on.
Right.
But I actually didn't see the video. I
You didn't see the video yet.
I haven't seen the video yet. I saw, I heard about it and seen different people say different stuff about it. And I almost watched it, and I was like, nah, I don't feel like it. I'll watch it later. So I didn't see it. But I had interesting comments. And some of them are funny, comparing it to like Black is King. So I mean, I kind of get the gist of
Comparing it.
Yeah. Like it was like a comedy. Like they were like, oh, so Black is King is like this way, and this is pretty much like Classy Ratchet type of thing. So, but so and knowing Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion, I kind of get an understanding of possibly what everything is about, but I haven't seen it to really form my genuine, honest opinion, unbiased opinion, I should say, about it. So
But you did see Black is King.
I did see Black is King.
What did you think about that?
I'm still figuring it out. I think
I like that answer.
this is true because there are certain elements that I loved about it, some elements I liked about it, some elements I was like, okay, and some I was like, I don't really have to see this. Not that I just completely disliked it, but it was like,
Yeah.
but I'm still figuring it out. But I would say it was interesting the comparison or I'm still wrapping my mind around the whole lying.
Carmi, we have 5 seconds left.
Oh boy.
We're gonna log about. We'll come back.